Hello guys, Tamar James here. Today I'm finna learn what really happens to your body when you drown. People think that you just sink down. Maybe you disintegrate. You never know. And we finna learn that today.
Every year there are over 370,000 drowning deaths worldwide, children under 5 being the most at risk. And with all the drowning deaths you see in movies and TV, it's no wonder that people are afraid of dying that way. But what's actually going on during that process? Well, firstly, drowning isn't like how you see it in the movies. There's not a lot of thrashing around or yells for help. Typically, it's a silent act, where the person's mouth sinks below the surface of the water and then reappears as they try to breathe. Once they can no longer hold their initial breath and start to hyperventilate, they might aspirate water, triggering something called a laryngospasm. This is where the person's vocal cords spasm, blocking their airways and protecting their lungs. However, it also inconveniently makes yelling for help significantly harder to do. Since the person can't take in any fresh air, their oxygen supply starts to fall, potentially leading to a condition called hypoxia. This is where there's not enough oxygen reaching the body's tissues, and eventually, as the person becomes unconscious, there's a relaxation of their airway, allowing their lungs to fill with water. Depending on how long the person has gone without air, varying levels of damage can occur. For example, a 2013 study found that the likelihood of surviving with little to no brain damage was very low after being submerged for 10 minutes or more. The lack of oxygen can also lead to cardiac arrest. So basically what I'm saying is that drowning is absolutely terrifying, so please wear your life jackets, kids. They're cool, and they'll keep you safe. I know I look fantastic in my floaties. On top of all of that, if the person is in really cold water, there's also the fear of hypothermia, where the core body temperature falls below 35 degrees Celsius. When hypothermia sets in, it'll cause the body to start shivering intensely, and the person might act clumsy or confused. Their bodies slow down, including their respiration, heart, and metabolic rates, and eventually they might lose consciousness and even die. Let's all take a moment to mourn the loss of Jack from Titanic, but come on, there was seriously enough room on that door for him too. While hypothermia is a serious threat, it may actually help to prevent the effects of hypoxia. See, it can trigger the diving reflex, where blood vessels constrict and the heart rate slows, and the blood is diverted to the parts of the body that need it the most, like the brain. Hypothermia also decreases how much oxygen is needed by the body's tissues, meaning that it can actually prolong survival and help prevent the tissue damage from hypoxia. In fact, hypothermia and the diving reflex is often cited as a big reason why some young children have been able to survive drowning after being under the water for far more than 10 minutes. That being said, do not try to replicate that yourself. It's definitely best to stick with those huge inflatable pool toys instead. I call dibs on the flamingo. Are you afraid of the water? What life-threatening situation do you want us to talk about next? This episode was a little bit morbid, so why don't we celebrate the fact that you...
Oh my god, the end part was funny. He's like, I call dibs on the flamingo.
Your whole life is finally here.
I call
Now
dibs.
you too can have a little theater in your pocket.
That's pretty gross.
Download the new Family Guy game today.
Hey there. Welcome to Life Noggin. Electricity has allowed for some great things in our world, but it can also be pretty...
Here's another one.
In the United States alone, a little under 100 people a year are killed from being electrocuted in the workforce, and about another 60 electrocutions occur from consumer products like powder.
Did I do it? I gotta finish it. Watch how fast it's gonna be done.
You gotta answer it right.
Where's that pencil I had? I had 2 of them. I should not lose 2 of them at the same day. I'm on what lesson? Lesson 5. Lesson 14, lesson 9, lesson 5. It says, if you didn't have a protractor, how could you construct one? Use words, pictures, or numbers to explain in the space below. How can I construct an angle if I didn't have a protractor? Is that it? I'm just gonna use, oh my god, I won't get, okay, I'm just gonna make my own protractor. It's actually easy. You start with 0, you go 10, 20.
The protractor is
Oops, I'm thinking of the other protractor. we learned about.
How the protractor look?
It's two different protractors. It's one in a full circle and the other one half of a circle. We talking about the full circle, mother.
You can use two rulers. You can use a ruler, can't you?
To make a protractor.
Two rulers
To make like an angle.
to make an angle.
Can I get a sip of that lemon?
I ain't open. It's frozen right now. And you can't have a sip of anything.
You can use two
Don't quote me on it. I was asking.
rulers. Now I'm going for a picture of two rulers.
Making an angle.
Okay. Yeah. Ruler. And then it's making a cute angle. This is a cute angle. It is about 43 degrees, which also equals 43 over 360. Done. Okay guys, I'm back.
Electrocution is defined as when a person or animal is killed by electricity or an electric shock. But how exactly does electricity hurt someone? Well, to understand that, let's take a step back and see how electricity is measured. Volts and amperes, or amps, are typically ways engineers and scientists describe the electrical phenomena of the world. Amperes measure current flow, or how much electricity charge flows through a point per unit of time. Electron flow is what typically causes harm to a person through tissue or nervous system damage. When flowing through the body in ways they aren't typically supposed to, electrons can cause damage inside a person. These include the burning of bodily tissues or interfering with essential electrical signals, like the ones that cause the heart to beat. Under certain conditions, a person's muscles will tense and clench, sometimes even preventing them from letting go of the current source. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration gives some guidelines on just how dangerous certain amperages are. Currents around 1 milliamp can cause tingling sensations, while currents above 75 milliamps can potentially cause ventricular fibrillation, which may lead to death. Severe tissue and organ burns typically begin at currents above 1,500 milliamps. But you have to take into account more than just the amperage when seeing how the current of an electrical source will harm a person. Theoretically, a small current can flow into one hand directly through the heart and out the other hand and cause a person to die. At the same time, an extremely large current from a lightning bolt could hit a person and only cause bodily burns if it simply travels through the skin and not further inside a person. Certain body parts are also more susceptible to electric damage than others, with someone's inner organs having far less resistance than their outer skin. Wet skin also has way less resistance than dry skin. This is why people are at a far greater risk of electrocution when water is involved. So obviously high amounts of electricity going through you are pretty bad. But is there ever anything that can make a little electric kiss be a good thing? All my Left 4 Dead fans know that there is. The defibrillator. Modern-day defibrillators can vary quite a bit from what you see in video games, but they are basically devices that deliver a therapeutic dose of electrical energy to a person's heart in order to treat urgent medical conditions like sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest is a condition where a person's heart abruptly stops beating, usually caused by ventricular fibrillation. Without the use of things like CPR and a defibrillator, sudden cardiac arrest usually leads to a person's death. See, electricity can be a dangerous thing, but it can also save your life. So, have you ever been electrocuted? Have you or anyone you've known been saved by a defibrillator? Let me know in the comment section below. Share your story with the class. If you enjoyed this video, then you're definitely
We're doing one more
video on what happens when you drown. Check it out. Well, firstly, drowning isn't like how you see it in the movies. There's not a lot of thrashing around or yells for help.
It's what happens after you die. Oh yeah, bye guys. That's the end of the video.